This presentation is on Why IT Matters by Chris Mack, MIS 580, in response to the Nicholas Carr article on IT Doesn't Matter, published in the 2003 Harvard Business Review. Nicholas Carr was born in 1959 and is an American writer who has published books and articles on technology, business, and culture. His most recent book, The Shallows: What is the Internet Doing to Our Brains?, is a 2011 Pulitzer Prize nominee and a New York Times bestseller. Carr originally came to prominence with the 2003 Harvard Business Review article, IT Doesn't Matter, and the 2004 book, Does IT Matter? Information Technology and the Corrosion of Competitive Advantage, in the Harvard Business School Associated Press. In these widely discussed works, he argued that the strategic importance of information technology in business has diminished as IT has become more commonplace, standardized, and cheaper. His idea roiled the information technology industry, spurring heated outcries from executives such as Microsoft, Intel, Hewlett-Packard, and other leading large technology companies. However, there have been many commentators defending his position. In 2005, Carr published the controversial article, The End of Corporate Computing, in the MIT Sloan Management Review, in which he argued that in the future, companies will purchase information technology as a utility service from outside suppliers. According to McFarland and Nolan, Carr's examples of railroads and electric power has actually played out over 80 years, not 40 as he suggested, turning society, business organizations, and lifestyles inside and out. The deeper societal impacts come during the second 40 years of the railroad industry as society's insights on how to use the technology changed. It is worth understanding that although these technologies mutated significantly, for example, for a locomotive, it means moving from 50 miles an hour to 80 miles an hour. The mutation was on a totally different and much smaller scale than information technology. The cost performance of information technologies over the first 40 years has changed in an order of magnitude greater than a locomotive industry, and for the foreseeable future will continue to evolve at the same rate. This is in sharp contrast to a train which, after 80 years, moved 6 times faster than it had in an earlier period. While this is impressive, but not nearly as dramatic as a computer produced in 2000, which runs 10 million times faster than a 1960s computer. Carr makes an argument that what makes a resource truly strategic, what gives it the capacity to be the basis for a sustained competitive advantage, is not ubiquity, but scarcity. He goes on to say that you can only gain on edge on rivals by having or doing something that they can't have or do. The trap that executives often fall into, however, is assuming that opportunities for advantage will be available indefinitely. Carr continues that in actuality, the window for gaining advantage from an infrastructure technology is open very, very briefly. McFarland and Nolan counter this discussion with the following: that the CEO and senior management should understand how IT works and is associated with the economics. The economics are evolving and have enabled every industry's transactions cost to decrease continually, resulting in new economics for the firm and creating the transistability of products and services not possible in the past. The economics of financial transactions have continually dropped from dollars to cents. New entrants into the market have joined many industries and have focused on taking strategic advantage of information technologies associated economics. Company boundaries have become permanently organic and global in scope through IT networks and the emergence of the internet. As the pace of doing business increases, the CEO and senior management teams must be aware of how IT can change the rules and assumptions regarding competition and the internal working of their own business. The economics of conducting business will likewise continue to improve, providing opportunities for businesses to expand in the customer value proposition, providing more intangible information-based services. A perfect example in my own background and in my daily operations is with software platforms such as Cognos, which is an IBM business intelligence and performance management software suite. The software It's designed to enable business users without technical knowledge to extract corporate data, analyze it, and assemble reports quickly, easily, and seamlessly. Another example is PeopleSoft, which is a great example of an enterprise resource planning software where employees and executives can access in one location human resource management data, financials, materials management, customer relationship management to understand customer behaviors, project management in terms of driving new product development forward, and supply chain management and inventory. These are daily software platforms that without it, businesses struggle. Additionally, researchers at the University of Texas and the Indian School of Business published a study of how 150 Fortune 1000 firms from various industries use their data and how that correlates with their financial performance. For example, companies with 10% higher data usability had almost a 15% higher sales. Using the median sales per employee of roughly $390,000, that implies that a firm could boost its sales per employee by a non-trivial $56,000 per year by making their data only 10% more usable. Some firms would benefit a lot more, obviously. For instance, that same 10% increase would boost the sales per employee at retail firms and consulting firms by 50% and 40% respectively. Using dollars rather than percents, that would be roughly $5 million in increase per consulting firm worker, or a whopping $10 million annual increase for a telecom worker. Meanwhile, a 10% increase in both quality and sales mobility was correlated with an average of 16% increase in companies' return on equity. In other words, firms that took pains to clean and present their data better while also equipping their salespeople with application-enabled smartphones and technologies could increase their net income by almost $66 million per year. Some firms would obviously do much better. For example, energy, airlines, and telecom firms in particular can expect a 200% increase in return on equity from data quality and sales mobility investments. Improvements in gleaning intelligence data and then making accessible to all employees could also significantly boost companies' return on assets. For instance, insurers, commercial banks, and credit institutions could all enjoy 28% or better increase in ROA. Telecoms, air transportation firms, publishers, petroleum firms, wholesalers and electrical gas services, and steel firms would still enjoy very hefty ROA gains continuously. The conclusion of the study is that companies could increase their annual return on average of $2 billion by improving employee productivity through making their data just only 10% more usable and accessible. Thus, their conclusion contradicts Carr's main thesis that investing in technology offers little competitive advantage to their business. Finally, another great example of an emerging power of information technology is in medicine, as it allows device companies efficiently to update healthcare professionals on new technologies or techniques to treat disease within the same platform. These fast-paced, smart technologies allow seamless integration and quick access to healthcare professionals to data necessary to make timely decisions. It also allows healthcare professionals to transport and communicate this data and seek opinions to their colleagues in an effort to ensure the best approach to treat the illness for their patients. This transparency allows greater usefulness of the data, and that data is backed up into central locations so that can be accessed further and can be accessed by other doctors around the world. Further, this amazing approach to communication allows the healthcare provider an easier communication platform to discuss the surgical or healthcare options with their patients in a seamlessly and understandable method that allows the patient to feel comfortable with the discussion and the treatment that they will soon be facing to help their healthcare improve. Thank you. Have a good evening.